My stepmom convinced my dying dad to sign over his vintage car collection to her. 3 weeks after the funeral, I got a package from his mechanic that changed everything. I'd been obsessed with cars since I was 8. Dad taught me everything. How to change oil, rebuild an engine, spot a fake restoration from across a parking lot. Every Saturday morning was garage day. Just us, 2 thermoses of coffee, and whatever project we were working on. He'd let me hold the flashlight while he explained compression ratios. Let me help sand down rust spots on the Chevelle's quarter panel. Taught me that cars weren't just machines. They were stories you could touch. By the time I was 14, I could diagnose engine problems by sound alone. Dad would smile and say I had the gift. That most people heard noise, but I heard conversation. Then he remarried when I was 16. Linda was nice at first, complimented my grades, asked about my college plans, brought cookies to my basketball games, but she hated the garage. Said it smelled like chemicals and old leather, that it wasted space that could be a home gym or an office. She never said it directly, but I could tell she resented the Saturdays. The way Dad and I would disappear for hours. How we'd come in for lunch covered in grease, laughing about some carburetor that refused to cooperate. When Dad got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, everything shifted. Linda took over, scheduled his appointments, managed his medications, spoke to doctors in that calm, efficient voice that made everyone trust her, and she started talking about downsizing. The cars are just sitting there, she'd say at dinner. They're not appreciating. They're not helping anyone. Just taking up space and money for insurance. Dad would just nod, too tired to argue. The chemo had destroyed him, made him small and gray and quiet. 2 months before he died, she had him sign new paperwork. Estate planning, she called it. Said it was important to get everything organized. Made sure I wasn't in the room when the lawyer came by. Said it was boring adult stuff that would take hours. I remember Dad looking at me through the doorway as I left. Something in his eyes I couldn't read. He lifted his hand slightly, like he wanted to say something, but Linda closed the door. At the funeral, she barely looked at me, shook my hand like I was a distant cousin she'd met once. Said she'd send me some of his things when she had time to go through everything. A week later, she posted photos on Facebook. Professional shots of Dad's 1967 Mustang, his 1972 Chevelle, the 1969 Camaro, all 6 cars lined up in perfect detail, freshly waxed, gleaming. Estate sale this weekend. Everything must go. Price to sell. The comments poured in. People congratulating her on being practical. Others asking about prices. Someone tagged a local collector who specialized in classic muscle cars. I called her that night, hands shaking, asked if we could talk about the cars, if maybe I could keep just one, the Mustang. The first one Dad and I restored together. She sighed like I was being unreasonable. Said Dad wanted his assets liquidated, that keeping old cars around was impractical, that the maintenance alone cost thousands, that I'd understand when I was older and had real responsibilities. I asked about the paperwork she'd had him sign. She said it was none of my business. The Dad had made his wishes clear, that I should respect his decisions and move on. The next day, a box arrived at my apartment. No return address, just my name in block letters. Inside was a stack of keys, every single car key, and a note from Tony, Dad's mechanic, the guy who'd worked on our cars for 15 years. Your dad switched the VINs on all 6 cars 2 months ago. The ones she has are replicas he had built. Cost him 40 grand, but he said it was worth it. The real ones are in a climate-controlled storage unit under your name. He paid 10 years up front, address attached. He wanted you to have them. Said you were the only one who understood what they meant. I sat on my apartment floor holding those keys for an hour, just sat there crying. I drove to the storage unit that afternoon. It was 20 minutes outside the city. Modern facility, good security. I punched in the code Tony had written down. The door rolled up. All 6 cars, sitting there in the dim light like sleeping animals. Original paint, original parts, original everything. And taped to the Mustang steering wheel was a note in Dad's handwriting. The handwriting that had gotten shaky near the end, but was still unmistakably his. She wanted the cars. I gave her cars. These are yours. You earned them. Every Saturday we spent together was worth more than anything I own. Don't let anyone tell you that time was wasted. Love, Dad. Linda sold all 6 replicas that weekend for $340,000 total. Posted about her fresh start, about making smart financial decisions, about not being sentimental when it came to business. Her friends commented with applause emojis and congratulations. I didn't say a word, didn't call, didn't comment. Just quietly transferred the real cars to the storage unit closer to my place. Started showing up to local car shows on weekends with Dad's Mustang, the real one. People would stop and admire it, ask about the restoration. I tell them my dad and I built it together, that he taught me everything I know. She saw me at a show last month. I was parked in the classic muscle car section, engine idling, that deep rumble that only a properly built 289 can make. She walked right up, sunglasses on, expensive bag, that confident smile she always wore. The car looked familiar, she said. Asked where I got it. Said it looked just like the one from the estate sale. I smiled, turned off the engine, stepped out and leaned against the door. Dad gave it to me, I said. Then I pulled out my phone and showed her the storage unit receipt. All 6 cars, paid for 10 years, under my name since 2 months before he died. Her face went completely white.